Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for coming here and being part of this very exciting event of Moldova-Romania Capital Bridges. I would like to thank our host, Bucharest Stock Exchange, for making it possible, and I would like to thank our distinguished guests for being here. I would like to thank the panelists. In the next 3 hours or so, we will have an opportunity to discuss Moldova's aspirations to EU, macro development, and real businesses in Moldova. Now I would like to ask Mr. Nicolae Ciucă to welcome us with welcoming speech, Prime Minister of Romania.
Hello and welcome. I am very happy and honored to organize and host this event. Prime Minister, President of the Bucharest Stock Exchange, dear President of the ASF Authority, dear guests. As I said, I'm very happy to participate in this event that consolidates and strengthens the relationship between Romania and the Republic of Moldova and strengthens the bridge that connects us. We share very strong cultural and moral values, but we need to do more in order to develop our relationship. Granting the statute of a candidate nation to joining the European Union is a historical milestone and opens and creates new opportunities of welfare to the citizens from the Republic of Moldova. Along these lines, developing the business relations, promoting investment are essential to strengthening the strategic partnership that we have and that will support the European integration of the Republic of Moldova. Just as I promised, our support to the Republic of Moldova is a tangible one. It is also covered by an agreement that deals with a technical and financial assistance, carrying an assistance, a non-reimbursable assistance of 100 million euros that we are extending to the Republic of Moldova, but we are ready to do more. We support Moldova institutionally, economically, and socially in order for Chișinău to meet its commitments to Brussels, and also on a broader line for Moldova's integration in the European family. The current geopolitical and economic context is quite challenging to the economies of our two countries. The war in the Ukraine, the energy crisis, the lack of material and human resources, the disturbances in the supply chains, the galloping inflation are creating a lot of real issues that the business environment is exposed to. Our role is to find viable solutions to these problems in order to consolidate the confidence and trust of the companies and investors in the national economies. That is why it is important to intensify the efforts that we have to do together in order to mitigate the issues that the citizens and the business environment from our two countries are faced with. Romania is Moldova's first and top business partner, and in the year 2021 we've seen an unprecedented value of the bilateral trade exchanges, over 2 billion euros. This year, in the first 5 months, the bilateral trade already exceeded 1.2 billion euros, thereby confirming the accelerated growth trends of the commercial exchanges between our two nations. This is very good, but it's not enough. And we have to make efforts together. We need to send messages across to the business environments from Romania and the Republic of Moldova in order to tap and make the most of the potential of these two economies. Also, the cooperation between the two capital markets of the two countries goes far into the history, and in the context of Moldova's candidacy to the European Union, this cooperation has to get stronger. The access to capital is vital to the development of our two countries. We are ready to support the companies that need access to funding on the stock exchange. The dynamics show us that compared to the year 2006, when Moldova and Romania's stock exchanges signed a cooperation deal, our stock exchange has doubled its capitalization and is now in excess of 40 billion euros. We can share our success with our peers from Chișinău in order to build efficient capital bridges between these two economies. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to make stronger contributions to the development of the Republic of Moldova and to the implementation of projects that can help Moldova get faster into the European family of nations. When the Republic of Moldova becomes a full-fledged member of the European Union, I will be as happy as I was when Romania became a full member of the European Union. So our mission will be complete then, and Romanians and their neighbors from Moldova will be able to enjoy the statute of full members of the European Union. I would like to tell you that I've had several bilateral meetings with my peer from Chișinău. We've had several meetings in Chișinău in February. We talked about tangible actions that we can take together in order to support and help the effort that the Republic of Moldova is going along its way to the EU membership. We established a number of tangible details that are associated to the crisis that we're going through, and of course that we are able and willing to support Moldova with everything that we can, so that the Republic of Moldova can be able to manage fully this situation of crisis. These are actually topics that are discussed by our government every day, because we do want to make every effort in order to secure the gas supplies, the electricity which is needed by both nations, and of course the access to the European market. So these are as many topics that we've covered several times in Bucharest and in Brussels and in Chișinău. We make every effort so that we can share some of our experience with our neighbors from the Republic of Moldova and convince the authorities in Brussels that the Republic of Moldova has to further and continue its efforts in order to become EU members. So we are willing to make every effort, technical efforts, also HR efforts, in order to support Moldova's integration. These are all actions that are subject to review and analysis in the current context. I'm talking about the conflict in Ukraine and the invasion of the Russian Federation into the Ukraine. This situation generates effects that are also felt in the Republic of Moldova as in any other nation. So we've talked about everything that's necessary in order to facilitate the cross-border transit from Moldova into Romania and the other way around of people and refugees. We are having talks, and we've created task forces that are trying to identify the solutions, and so we'll make every effort in order to support the authorities and the government of the Republic of Moldova to reassure its citizens that every effort is made so that they can overcome this situation of crisis successfully, and so that they can go also successfully through the winter that is coming. So today's event is a very important event. It is important for strengthening this bridge between our two countries and nations. It's a business bridge. Also, as a liberal, I support this bridge, and I'm willing to make every effort in order to facilitate the commercial and business relations between the two countries and support these relations and expand these relations. In this way, both countries will have access to a business market which should be transparent and easy to access. Every one of you have made their own efforts along these lines, and on behalf of the government, I would like to thank for the support that you've been giving. I would also like to thank to our friends from the Bucharest Stock Exchange for the efforts they've made in order to organize this event and make it happen. And I am also thanking to our foreign guests who've said yes to the invitations and who are here. Thank you very much, and good luck with your event.
Prime Minister, now Mrs. Natalia Gavrilita, Prime Minister of Republic of Moldova.
Hello, everyone. Dear Prime Minister,
stimate domnule Marcu, stimate domnule Hanga, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, de la bun început aș vrea.
Well, from the very beginning, I'd like to tell you that it's an honor and pleasure to be here in front of you, talking in front of such a distinguished audience. And I would like to thank the Bucharest Stock Exchange and to the organizers for organizing this forum that the Republic of Moldova is fully supporting. I would also like to thank to the Prime Minister for the warm words that he's been saying in connection to our nation and our citizens. And every time we met and talked about the support that we need, we enjoyed a very prompt reaction and feedback. We've seen tangible support coming from Romania. It's a heartfelt relationship that comes from the bottom of the soul of our neighboring country, and we are very happy to feel that. Well, this week we have a forum which is devoted to the access of Moldovan companies to the international capital. In Chișinău, we have a meeting of the national theaters that involves an outstanding lineup of shows and performances. It will last until the end of September. We're also making some approaches to UNESCO in order to have our own Moldavian shirt approved as an element of the national and international heritage. So these are all elements that we'll be working on together for the benefit of the citizens from both banks of the river Prut. And since I want to reach the hearts and ears of investors, I will switch to English.
It is about building bridges. Bridges between my country and foreign investors, bridges between Moldovan and international businesses, bridges between Moldovan companies and the Romanian and other key capital markets in Europe and beyond. Ever since taking office in August of last year, building bridges has been a key priority for the government of the Republic of Moldova. Perhaps the most important bridge we were able to build is the new level of our relationship with the European Union after we were granted candidate status almost 3 months ago. Having been elected on a strong mandate to restore the rule of law, enhance good governance, encourage economic development, and pave the way towards prosperity, we view European integration as the compass which will help us to deliver upon these absolutely legitimate expectations of our citizens, as well as of companies that are doing business in my country. We have also been keen on building bridges between the government and the private sector. As Prime Minister, it is one of my key priorities to discuss with the representatives of the business community and ensure that their voices are not only heard, but translated into an improved regulatory framework based on a level playing field in which the role of the state is to facilitate economic activity, rather than, as sadly was the case in the past, to hamper initiatives or overburden companies with abusive practices and checks by various institutions. To this end, we are in the process of further simplifying our taxation system, cutting red tape and accelerating the digital transformation, which will simplify the interaction between citizens and companies on the one hand and state institutions on the other hand. In keeping with the title of this event, we are building digital bridges between the public and the private sectors to replace the analog barriers of the past. But we have also been very busy building concrete bridges over the past few months as we strive to mitigate the economic fallout of the unjust war in Ukraine, but also to facilitate economic links between our country and member states of the European Union via Romania. As logistics and transport networks had to adapt to the changing regional environment, we worked closely with our Romanian friends to ensure that existing border infrastructure is consolidated, but also expanded. For example, by building a floating bridge at Leova-Bumbata, but also by preparing a construction of a much-awaited road bridge connecting Ungheni with the Romanian side of the River Prut. Likewise, we have just recently reopened a formerly disused railway line connecting the south of Moldova with the Ukraine. Our efforts are aimed at ensuring that the Republic of Moldova can be a reliable provider of safe and efficient corridors that enable the flow of goods between the region and the rest of the world. It is often said that in every crisis lies an opportunity. Out of the respect for the scale of the human tragedy generated by the war, I would like to avoid framing my approach through this perspective. Yet, as our region has been plunged into uncertainty, it is my duty as well as my firm intention to maintain and strengthen the resilience of the Moldovan economy. And notwithstanding interrupted supply chains, rising inflation, and uncertainties related to energy security, I would like to highlight that we stand on a sound macroeconomic footing. In 2021, our GDP increased by 13.9%, more than any country in Europe. Also, we have a low public debt to GDP ratio. At little over 30%, it has one of the lowest levels in our region, indicating a prudent approach to fiscal policy. Our labor markets reflect recent positive trends. In 2022, the occupation rate increased by 30,000 jobs. We have a stable exchange rate. Over the past 2 decades, our currency has been broadly stable, demonstrating an annualized devaluation versus the euro at below 2% per year. At the same time, our international foreign exchange reserves comprise about $4.2 billion, which constitutes the equivalent of around 174% in reserve adequacy metrics. Already at the beginning of our mandate, I clearly stated that our transformational agenda is bold. We are fully aware that we cannot afford to aim only for a modest growth level in the low single digits, as is the case of many developed markets. In order to reach average EU levels of GDP per capita during a generation, the economy must grow at a stronger pace, high single digits or even double digits, seeking to at least double our real GDP every decade. We understand that with a smaller domestic market, we have to build an open, innovative economy that can also serve as an exporting platform for investors. We have attractive opportunities in the fields such as IT, business process outsourcing, green energy, e-commerce, or research and development. And you may be surprised that we also boast a thriving automotive industry. Non-existent some 20 years ago, now it is the largest exporting segment of our country. We have a competitive and well-capitalized banking sector, with credit supply to the economy having improved dramatically, yet still at relatively low levels. Domestic credit as share of the GDP stands at around 25%, a third of the level of a country like Georgia, for instance. This shows us that there is still great potential to tap into. The absence of an active financial and capital market in Moldova is hindering the growth and attractiveness of Moldovan companies. Therefore, the actual financing gap of Moldovan enterprises keeps growing over the years. According to a PwC report in 2021, the financing needs of SMEs, for example, was more than 5% of GDP, or $600 million. Consequently, one of the priorities of the current government is to develop the domestic capital market, launch new financial instruments, and enhance access to international financial markets. We are certain that the Bucharest Stock Exchange and the Financial Supervision Authority are able to offer their expertise and support to the Moldovan Stock Exchange and the National Financial Markets Commission to develop the domestic market and boost the liquidity on the secondary market for existing equity and government bonds. On financial instruments, we have launched municipal bonds and are planning to release a platform for retail government bonds with the support of the US Agency for International Development. Nonetheless, we would like to learn from the Bucharest Stock Exchange and the Financial Supervision Authority how to boost the attractiveness of corporate bond issuance and eventually convertible bonds for Moldovan companies, and why not for companies in the government sector as well. Also, we would be interested in understanding how to develop an equivalent aero platform for SME equity financing, or access it directly. Furthermore, the current government is making significant efforts to enlarge the access to the international financial market. We are working on improving our credit rating and plan to hire a second credit rating agency in the near future. During my last visit to London back in December, we explored the opportunity to launch the first sovereign Eurobonds once we define our investment projects that we want to finance via this method. At the same time, we support the effort of Moldovan enterprises to list on international stock exchanges. In a nutshell, we need a more active capital market and international investments. However, we do understand that a proper capital market needs professional market participants, such as pension funds and insurance funds. Hence, I would like to invite the Romanian pension funds to consider launching private pension products and offer access to investments into international financial markets to Moldovan citizens. I would also like to avail myself of this opportunity to highlight the role of the Romanian capital market as a natural gateway for Moldovan businesses to access equity and bond financing. It is remarkable to see the traction the Bucharest Stock Exchange has achieved, with some 45 bond issuances and 23 equity issuances in 2021, including SMEs via the Aero platform. This means an average of more than one new listing per week. With over 30 billion euros in combined market cap for local companies listed at the Bucharest Stock Exchange, it has clearly proven its potential to become a regional financing hub, including for Moldovan companies seeking growth capital. We know that to some companies, the Moldovan market may seem too small to justify an investment. However, given the linguistic and cultural proximity to Romania, many Moldovan companies that treat the Romanian market as an extension of their domestic market. This is the reason Romania is by far the largest export market for our businesses. So, when you consider opting for Moldova, think of it not just as a small market of less than 3 million, but rather as an access point to a combined market of more than 20 million potential consumers.
I think, Mr. Prime Minister Ciucă, that we totally agree that the development of the relationships through the stock exchange from Bucharest and through the access of the Moldovan companies to the international capital will be for the benefit of the citizens on both sides of Prutu River, and will stand for a unique, attractive market for investors.
The Republic of Moldova has firmly and irreversibly made its choice to be part of the free world. As we embark upon our journey towards becoming a full member of the European family, we are open for business for all those willing to explore the exciting opportunities my country has to offer. My government and I fully committed to building and encouraging further bridges for investors interested in shaping the course of Moldovan history over the following years and decades. And we are equally supportive of Moldovan companies looking to expand their horizons abroad and access markets that previously seemed out of reach. I would also like to once again underscore that my pledge to maintain bridges between the Moldovan government and the private sector lies at the heart of our economic policy. We are interested in your proposals as we strive to improve our investment climate as well as our legal and regulatory framework. So please always feel free to engage with us if you feel that there is something that we can do better. I am sure that already during this forum, whether in the upcoming panel sessions or on the sidelines, there will be opportunities to dwell upon investment opportunities and necessary improvements to governance. Earlier in the day, I had a great meeting with AmCham. I had engaged with Concordia on previous occasions, and we look forward to further opportunities to discuss about the regulatory changes that could make Moldova more attractive for investors. Once again, let me thank the organizers of this event, and I would like to express my hope that the plans voiced today will become the business of tomorrow. Thank you very much for your attention. Vă mulțumesc mult!
Thank you, Mrs. Prime Minister, for a very insightful overview. Now we have Mrs. Odille Renaud-Basso, the President of European Bank of Reconstruction and Development, addressing the audience online.
Good afternoon. I'm happy to speak today about Moldova, a country that we at the EBRD know very well. The war on Ukraine has created huge challenges across the region. Companies and countries have been working to get to grips with them. And the EBRD has been there to help with its 2 billion euros resilience and livelihoods framework. For example, to enhance Moldova's energy security, in June we lent 300 million to help the country acquire strategic gas reserves from European Union hubs. One very positive recent development has been the decision to admit Moldova as a candidate for EU membership. This gives impetus to the reform efforts already underway, launched by today's strongly pro-European government. As Moldova's largest institutional investor, we have been active in pushing for reforms for many years. Indeed, the EBRD has played a major role in turning the banking sector around since the 2014 crisis. Significant progress has been made in that area. One such example is maib, who will be presenting today. The bank is now undertaking a large transformation to prepare for its listing on the Bucharest Stock Exchange. We at the EBRD warmly welcome this initiative, and we hope it will serve as an example for other Moldovan companies in need of access to capital markets to finance growth. maib is strongly committed to the highest standards of corporate governance and has a very well-qualified, diverse supervisory board. Overall, Moldova and its banking sector have held up very well under the pressure of recent events. And despite the shadows thrown across the European continent by the war, the outlook for Moldova is full of hope. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nicu Marcu, President of ASF.
Excelența voastră,
Your
Excelența voastră, domnule prim-ministru, domnule președinte al Bursei de Valori București, doamnelor și domnilor, în urmă cu
2 years ago, I think, we were thinking that Romania could be a regional hub for the capital market. That was a challenge, and at the same time, we were skeptical that we could get to this point. But what's happening, what has happened over the past 2 years in the capital market makes us think that there is a chance to get to the point that we were thinking of a few years ago. The stock exchange, the management of the stock exchange surprises us continuously, and we were saying some time ago that over the past year, more than 20 companies listed on the stock exchange from Bucharest now. And steps are being taken to list a company from Moldova, the second one, a big company, one of the biggest banks from the Republic of Moldova. So this thing gives us reasons to trust that our objectives, and I say us, that because the objectives of the financial authority are common. Mr. President knows this, our general manager also knows this, because for some time we have been working together, and because we want to operate all the central part. That is a second important objective that the stock exchange and the capital market has. Please allow me to congratulate. And even if we are the authority for financial supervision, we cannot not do this to recognize their merits, because many efforts have been made during all these years to get to this moment, and to say that, as Mrs. Prime Minister said, to be a regional organization that should represent the capital market. Let's hope that in the future other companies will come, because this is an example to follow. In this respect, I would like to tell you, in support of these things, that the Authority for Financial Supervision for some time started the approaches to talk with the companies from the Moldova, with the National Bank from Moldova, with the Authority of Supervision of the Capital Market, our colleagues from the Capital Market are in Romania. They are at the authority. We were surprised to see that they did their homework and they started to work. And my colleagues said that we already are working. And today, they told me this because it won't be easy, but it's our duty to find all the solutions to do in order to harmonize the legislation from Moldova with the Romanian legislations, the legislation so that this big bank, maib, to be listed in a very short period of time on the stock exchange. I was saying that the authority is taking steps in order to harmonize the legislation on the area of insurances. And in this respect, I want to tell you that there is a twinning project that ASF, together with the National Bank of Romania and with the Authority for the Protection of the Consumer, together also with the National Bank from Moldova and with other two states, the Netherlands and Slovenia, I think, participating in this twinning project. We want to harmonize the legislation in the insurance sector so that the Republic of Moldova to be able to adapt their legislation as fast as possible to the European legislation. So in this respect, as a novelty, I want to tell you that in the next period, Mr. Governor of the National Bank from Moldova is coming to the Authority of Financial Supervision to set all the terms that we have to follow so that we conclude this process as fast as possible. And also, let's hope that in terms of the role of the authority, of our authority, in the relationships with the Republic of Moldova, with our partners from the Republic of Moldova, will be an effective role. And at the same time, let's hope we will have the results that we have in mind. I don't want to go into too many technical details. I want to congratulate personally Radu Hanga because together with his colleagues, he informed us on all the steps they have been done. I transmitted to him that as authority, even if our role is only as a supervisory one, and to authorize and to regulate the capital markets, we are close to the stock exchange because we want to develop, as Mr. Prime Minister said earlier, the role of the stock exchange needs to be a prevalent one in Romania. We need to get to the point where we are aware of the fact that the source of financing or the biggest source of financing for the Romanian companies comes from the stock exchange market, a thing that is felt quite shy in this moment. I'd like to stop here, and I want to congratulate once again also the bank because they accepted to be listed on the stock exchange from Bucharest, and to wish you all good luck in the works of the conference. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Radu Hanga, the chairman of Bucharest Stock Exchange.
Thank you, Giorgi.
Dear Mrs. Prime Minister, dear Mr. Prime Minister, dear Mr. President of the Authority for Financial Supervision, dear friends, 15 minutes ago I didn't have any emotions, but now I have them because we are now in a context where people build bridges and we want to build some other bridges between Romania and the Republic of Moldova. I'm thinking that my colleagues from the board who are here in the meeting, the colleagues from the executive team of the stock exchange, feel exactly as I feel now, hearing Mr. Prime Minister of Romania, Mr. Prime Minister and the National Authority of Financial Supervision, talking about what we succeed to do here. I would like to refer to what you were saying, Mrs. Prime Minister, about the fact that the capital market in Moldova is not so much developed. This is a story that wherever you go to the center or the east of Europe, every market of the region talks about it, considering itself not developed one. I think that also us in our small circle, when we talk between us, we say that there are many steps to take from now on. My father says that the history is not ended, which means that us, the people, institutions, we are in a developing process, and probably the most boring thing is the moment when you got to the conclusion that you are perfect, that you've done everything you could do, and now you have to go home. So until that moment, when we look into the mirror and when we say to ourselves that there are things that we can do, I think that's good. Coming back to the things that I've put down here, we are honored to co-organize this event together with Moldova Agro in the bank. An event that wants to create bridges between the markets from Romania and Moldova. Practically, this creates opportunities, financing opportunities and development opportunities for the Romanian companies and for the Moldovan companies. We strongly believe, and we recently had a visit in the Republic of Moldova to send our message. We strongly believe that, yes, we learned some things here in Romania. We did some things. Even if we continue to learn, we know that we developed systems that can help to develop the capital market from Moldova. And I liked Mrs. Prime Minister because you talked about Aero market, the market that is looking to us that are a smaller stage of development.
Each market needs a certain status, so to speak. Companies are never born big, so it's difficult to be born number one or a market leader. Any company needs to be able to grow up. We have some peculiarities in this area because 30 years ago we changed the regime. The state-owned companies became private companies. But in a normal world, in the other countries, all companies need to go through some phases, and some of these phases involve funding and visibility. So basically, we need ladders that local companies can use in order to grow. So the Bucharest Stock Exchange can provide some help to the companies that are listed on the Chișinău Stock Exchange in order for them to grow. So we are able to do that. We have our own expertise in this area, as I already said. It's an example of Purcari, a company listed in 2018. It raised 40 million euros, is one of the most visible companies on the Bucharest Stock Exchange. It's a company that teaches us that the stock exchange is not about funding alone. So we invest in the listed companies. We put our money in companies like the one called Purcari. We see their products on the shelves of the stores in Romania and the Republic of Moldova. So this is how the company gets improved. The company gets this company of visibility, but it also benefits of a different sort of relationship with its customers. So the stock exchange is not only about the capital, it's also about the visibility and communication. So it's important whatever we do, also whatever the Chișinău Stock Exchange does is also important for the international and local market. Now, getting back to today's topic, well, Giorgi we are very happy that your bank looks at our stock exchange as an option for its development. We are here to help you develop. You are different from Purcari because, you know, when this process is over, this company will be dually listed. So we are happy to take this step, and we expect other companies from Moldova to look at and explore the cooperation opportunities that the Bucharest Stock Exchange can provide to them. I would have liked to talk about the FTSE, about our access to the FTSE indexes as an emerging market, but this topic has already been tackled. A company's greatest achievement is to hear guests talking about you. So I'm thanking you once again. I'm wishing you the best of luck, and I'm also thanking you for being here today. Thank you.
So this completes our first part, the opening speeches, and we can thank our distinguished guests once again for the. We are on time now. The good news is that there is no risk to reschedule the Purcari wine tasting by 6 o'clock. Now we will have fire chat with the Prime Minister of Moldova, Mrs. Natalia Gavrilita, moderated by Mrs. Rafaela Tenconi, Senior Economist, Woods & Company. Thank you again.